I was denied. An ex-wife who, okay, under her terms she wanted him in care. She couldn't look after him, so she was going to make sure that I couldn't look after him either. So my son was taken into care. As I say to you, he was abused before he was even in full care. And now that makes it even worse, because he was abused before the Church of Scotland and me and my ex-wife had even signed the forms for him to be in care, and he'd already been assaulted. Now, these abuses went on for a long time. It didn't matter what I done, what I found out, who I went to, i.e. local authorities, they just didn't want to know. The hold that the Church of Scotland had on the local authorities was amazing. It didn't matter what these people said, what these people done. The Church always got the final say. Now, I attended meetings, myself and Janice. We all signed the, we went to the meetings, and they were a farce. Because the abuses my son had suffered were kept and buried. Now, it's a long time, it was between the year 1995 to 1999. These abuses took place in this home. I seen it and I suffered for it. I can remember leaving my boy at night and he would not let go of my hand. He used to lie on the floor while he lay in a bed, and he'd take my hand and put it under his head, and he would not let me go. And sometimes I fell asleep, lying on the bleeding floor. I got woke up with Janice phoning me. "Where are you?" I said, "John, don't let me go." I'm still sleeping on the floor there. Now, this went on for a long time. And it came to the stage that I couldn't take this anymore. I had to do something. So we talked with Janice, my partner, and we decided, okay, let's get John out of there as soon as we could do it. And then the barriers were put up in front. They used all sort of lies. Nothing about me personally, but they just didn't want John out of that place. Because during that period of time, I'd found out about John. I tried to do what a lot of people at the Quarriers and all the other organisations are trying to access files. I tried to get hold of John's files. Eventually I did, and in the files I found stuff. And it was blatantly in front of people to read. There was what happened to John. But when you asked them, social work, none of them wanted to do nothing. They'd all walk about passing the buck. Nobody wanted to interview anybody. Nobody wanted to get near this home. Nobody wanted to do nothing. Except I tried to expose what was going on in that home. Now I'm going to talk a wee bit about the home. The Mallard was, when I went there, it's a lovely place, it looks nice, it looks apart. It's like two bungalows brought together with a centre area where the kids would spend time together. It looked lovely, but at the same time there was something not right. One, I never got on with the people that worked in the place. Was that because I knew there was something going on? I knew John was being abused, but at the same time, the abuse in a way kind of calmed down a bit, but he was still getting hurt. Massive bruisings on his body, taking him to a doctor, and there was nothing. The doctor would record all the bruising on it, but nobody knew where it came from. This is what you got all the time. And this went on and on and on. And it came to the stage where you were dreading going up to this home, because you knew when you went in, your boy was in trouble. We chased everything. We took on the local authority that bought the place, which was North Lanarkshire Council. They bought the placement in the home, they put John in the home, but they done nothing to protect him. We went to meetings. We got massive amount of detail, documentation. We had it all. It wasn't as if it wasn't there. All the documentation was there. But they wouldn't do nothing. We sat at the very top of North Lanarkshire Council, a committee review, I think it was called. And in that committee review, there was a panel of councillors. Now, these councillors were more worried about what was happening to my son than what they wanted to do, to talk about me or my son. They just wanted to know why my son was suffering all these injuries. Now, that went on for ages. We got the report back for the North Lanarkshire, and what did they do? Clean bill of health, no problems. Yeah, where did we go for there? So eventually we realised John was near the age of 16. Decided, let's get him out of there. So, gave the warning, John's coming home with me. He's coming to stay with me. And I must admit, North Lanarkshire helped me over the top. Oh, they couldn't do enough for me. I was taking John out of this place, we brought him home. Had to get psychological help for him. A boy who for 9 months was up every night, standing at the bottom of the bed. He was taking, John being severe learning disability, he was taking, I thought there were seizures, one of the seizures, he was just going out. He was lying there with his eyes wide open at night. Me and John's like, what's wrong with him? We couldn't figure out what it was. So we got psychologists in. They diagnosed mental, physical, emotional and probable sexual abuse in my son. We had to deal with that and bring him back. Now at the same time as that, as soon as I got him out of care, I had an opportunity then to go for evidence, take the local authorities on and use what they call a guardianship. I applied to the courts, I got the guardianship. A couple of people tried to object to it, i.e. like the local authorities. The ex-wife wasn't happy about it, but the hell that my son was coming into my care. I needed the clout, as they call it, to go to court and fight using his name, fight in his behalf. He could not speak. So one of the hard things about it is there is hundreds and maybe thousands of kids out there who've got severe learning disabilities, are living in care, and they're suffering the same as yourselves, those of you who were abused in care. The big difference is they can't come and speak. Yous can. And yous are doing it well now, and it's coming for you, and it will come for you if you keep fighting at it. But these kids, they get nobody. I applied for a job once with a local authority in the Scottish Government as a lay assessor, independent lay assessor, put forward by an MSP. She thought because of what I knew would help me to go forward for his job. It was a great job, £27,000 a year. All I had to do was go out with the local authority or the Care Commission inspectors. They would do a report on a child or somebody that's phoned up being abused or suspected of abuse. I had to do the same. Now, one question I asked, who am I working for? He says, the Scottish Government. I said, but I'm an independent lay assessor. That's my title. He says, oh, no. I says, what do you mean, no. You have got to come to me with your report the same time as the assessor comes in. I said, what happens if our documentations are all different? They believe him, but they will never believe me. That was it. Yeah. And she turned around and she says to me, I don't think you're going to benefit for his job. I said, no, I don't think so. So that was the last. But that just shows you what goes on. There was a new care system set up, protection of adults in care. I'd been to all the meetings, done everything for it, followed it through, and here we are. Scottish Government were looking after it again. They were stopping the searching of homes, make sure that when you got a home to investigate, you phone them first, and you tell them you're coming. I went through that, the registration inspectors, told them to go up to this home and protect my son. What did they do? They phoned the home first, and told them they were coming. What was the point? And then he just said, nothing happened. John hadn't been touched. But I'm going to move on a wee bit for there. Because we, myself and my partner, we've kept the fight going. We used the guardianship, we used it well. I discovered local authorities had to pay attention to me. I had this guardianship, this documentation. This was good for all, this was it. They had to talk to me. They had to give me documentation. They were not allowed to keep documents away from me. I discovered when I approached North Lanarkshire Council, I says, I want my son's documentation because I want to know on paper what happened to him in there. I was told, just like a lot of you have been told, oh, we don't know where they are. Then I was told they were spaced out the four corners of North Lanarkshire. Could you get them together? Oh, we don't know. I says, right, either get them together or I take you to court to get them off you. And then discovered through a carer who worked with Dundee Council that there was an act, 1995 Children's Act, which meant that documentation had to be kept under lock and key for a period of 75 years. Now they didn't lose them, and they didn't space them all over the four corners. They were in an archive in Motherwell. Motherwell, where the head office of North Lanarkshire Council is. That is where they were. Still, there was a problem getting these documents. They didn't want me to see the official documentation showing what happened to John. So I threatened them, right, you get court, I'll go to court with you in Hamilton if you do not hand over. This was to stop him representing me in the court to get these documents. I received a phone call from the Sheriff Clark, Hamilton Sheriff Court, and she says, Mr. Sheilds, your lawyer's dropped you. Are you going to be doing this case yourself? I turned him and says to my partner, Janice, what do we do here? She says, go for it. We'll just say we're going anyway. So I phoned them back up. I says, send me out the documentation, I'll fill it in myself and I'll come to court. So me and my partner went away down to Hamilton one day for the court here. North Lanarkshire Council didn't even know we were coming. They were standing in court thinking, oh, this is a freebie, this. There's nobody going to be competing against us, nothing. Bang, sitting there, the judge goes, is there a Mr. Sheilds in here? I say, yes, Your Honour, I'm here. You should have seen this man's face. He just sat there, and this lawyer was dumbstruck. And Janice, my partner, back, she says, did you see him run out this office? He ran out the court. And he went out and he made a phone call. And he came back in and the judge says, was there a problem? This was because I had turned up. They didn't think I was coming. Now, I went looking for another lawyer to deal with me and I found a Glasgow firm. And they carried on with going to get the documents. And great thing happened. 48 hours before going to court in Hamilton, what did they do? They handed over the documentation. Tons of files I didn't even know existed about my son. So we sat over a moon, got the documents, me and Janice just sat, read through them, shocked. The stuff in there I didn't even know what happened to John. We had the documentation, we had it in place. So next thing we decided, right, let's go for the church. We needed the police. God help me. We needed the police. Police investigation. First police investigation happened. A great officer, but he was chucking it, he was retiring. He left us with details, told us, oh, I've been up to the Mallard. I have interviewed members of staff at the Mallard. He was made with orchestrated statements. She even said 7 orchestrated statements of members of staff within this home. So he come back, says to me, the only other way I can thank John is, I'm retiring. I can't see you getting anything here. Try it civil action. That required the guardianship. So I got the guardianship. went for it, and that was me ready to go. So at the end of the day, we had a long, drawn-out process of trying to find out what happened to my son. This went on and on. It came to the stage that, what's going to happen here? Police, non-existent. So what do? You get into the next field, which is, you go to your MSP. They're put in place to help you because you're a constituent and they'll do everything for you. Right? So you're along meeting them. I know, I'll do this, I'll do that. I know the Detective Chief Superintendent, at that time it was Strathclyde Police. I'll write a letter to him. Don't worry, John, I'll get the information you're wanting. So you left it be. The next minute, along comes two, if you could say Britain's finest, come all the way up to Blair Gowrie to meet me and my partner. And this detective comes in, I always remember this one, he's got a suit, just looks like someone out the bill. He just comes in and he sits down and he's got this partner with him and she turns around and she goes, "We'll give us 3 weeks and we'll have answers for you." 3 weeks? I'm sitting here like 6 years later trying to get one thing done. He's going to take in 3 weeks. So me and my partner went, "Aye, on you go." So he says, "I'll get back to you." Aye, sure. So there he goes. Direct his word. 3 weeks later he comes back again, him and the same partner, and they come into the house and they sit down. And they turn around and they go like that. "We've been out and we've interviewed this, that and the next thing, and we've been to the Mallard and blah blah blah, but we can't find nothing." "Oh well, I said, I could have told you that before you went out the door. You weren't going to find anything." So that was 3 weeks. So he went away. And we went like, I said, "We need to go back to our MSP again." I can't use his name now, and I'll tell you why. But anyway, we went back to him again. He wasn't happy. We met him in his office, we sat down again. He says, "I'm going to get to the bottom of this." So he goes like that. He says, "We now have Police Scotland." Oh, big police now. One police covering everything. "Oh, we'll get someone out of this." So anyway, guess what? We couldn't believe it. He arranged a meeting in his constituency office, and who appears? The same bleeding detective who had done the investigation before. So he turns up at the door with his sidekick, and she comes in and they sit down. And I'm like that, I'm saying to Janice, "What the hell is he doing here?" I just couldn't figure out, what's this detective doing here again? He's been called by the high up in the authority of Police Scotland. He's an inspector from Possil, which is about 2 miles away from where my son was in the home. So he comes, and I'm like, I don't believe this. And I'm sitting saying to Janice after the meeting, saying, "What the hell is he doing here? Why would you appoint the same detective who'd done an investigation before?" I says, "I'm not having this." On the phone them up. I says, "Chuck it." "Why?" I said, "I don't want you near this case." I says, "You promised you would go and investigate." I says, "When you done your first investigation, you never even had the decency to tell us who the bleeding hell you went to see." We had no idea who these two coppers had went to interview. He never even gave us a document, he never gave us a letter, he never gave us nothing. Even when he finished the case, he never even sent us a letter. He just told us it was done. So anyway, we told him to go, we didn't want him. And yeah, he eventually done it. So the next minute, here, what do you get? I got a copper a wee bit higher up the line. He's a Detective Chief Superintendent. So anyway, we waited again. They were going to investigate, they were going to go away, they were going to talk to everybody. But what happens? We're very hard getting documents for them. And the thing was, I says, "Look, see, save you a lot of luck and a lot of going out and seeing people. Why don't I just come up to Possil and give you the documents and sit and read the documents?" I said, "Then afterwards, do something." Me and Janice by that time, we're getting a bit annoyed. We're not getting anywhere here. And these coppers are just taking us round in circles. Right? And we understand why they were doing it, but they were doing it so blatantly. So anyway, we went up and dropped the documents at the police station at Possil. and says to him, right, there you go, there's the stuff. You don't need to go anywhere, just read it. A year. Almost a year. And we never heard nothing from him. So, I was a friend, I'm a good friend of a lady by the name of, you may have heard of, Sandra Brown from the Moira Anderson Foundation, which is based in Airdrie. When my family became, John became the very first adult or child to be involved with Sandra. And Sandra's followed me for 20 years and what I've been trying to find out about John. And she's been involved, she's been in court with me, she's done everything for me. She's a brilliant woman. But anyway, we decided we would go and meet, as I call them, the old Bill. So we arranged a meeting for down in, was it Parkhead, wasn't it? Parkhead Cross?
Yeah.
The big police station down there. So when we went down there, we got a meeting. And we went into the meeting, and here were these detectives, and the detectives that had been reading the documentation. And we sat. And Sandra was great, she starts it off. Also, one of the good things about it was, I had a really good friend who was a newspaper woman. She was excellent, she'd done stories for me. We've had stories in the Sunday Mail, we've had stories in the Telegraph, we've had stories, everything in there, about John, and about the state, about the cover-up, everything that happens to parents of children with learning disabilities who have no voice. So we were reading stuff that we had done at Glasgow police station. So we're sitting there, and lo and behold, I've got all this documentation in front of me, which is all legal documents. So he says to Police Scotland, by the way, we've got a document here of a report done by Glasgow Registration and Inspection people. Yes, Mr. Sheilds, what's this? I says, in this, it speaks of my son being raped. It also speaks of a member of staff who had assaulted 3 other children. And they were like, where did you get this from? I said, well, what do you mean, where did I get this from? That was in the reports that I gave you. Didn't you read it? Do you know, they went and took that report and went away and photocopied it. But it was there all the time. It's been there for 3 police investigations. And not once did they do anything about it. And we just couldn't believe what was happening there. Here we had the best that Scotland can produce, sitting there, not knowing that a man was in that home, was assaulting children who had no defence. He was my son's team leader. And he wrote to my son. But they wouldn't tell me who he was. I can understand why. But at the end of the day, we had an idea who he was. We still got the documentation. I've produced it, I've given it an MSP, I've produced it to police, I've done everything. Now the funny thing about all this is, we are now 4 police investigations into what happened to my son. The last police investigation, believe it or not, was again initiated by an MSP for the 4th time. But this time he used the Lord Advocate's office. So we found ourselves dealing with Scotland's finest. Or not. It could be years ago. But what happened was, here we are, we're meeting the Lord Advocate's office. Now we were invited to go through to Dundee, to Procurator Fiscal's office in Dundee. Lovely. Stephen McGowan, that's his name. He is the number. Oh, here we go. Yeah. We had this man, Stephen McGowan, right? So we went through and met him with some other lady who had something to do with the government. Can't remember her name, but she was with him. Dalrymple, that's Missy Dalrymple. Right, okay. Right. So we met a tour, oh, and they were so angry about what happened to John. Couldn't believe it. And then, the worst words that anybody could ever say to you, leave it to us, we'll find out. So, that was that. Now, that took 2 years. 2 years for the procurator, the Lord Advocate's office, to come back to tell me what happened to my son, what was going on. And I'm going to be honest with you here. I only found out last December.
Yeah.
And the report that came from him was shocking. And I said, I'm not accepting this. You know, I've still got the report, the people that he was meant to have seen, what they'd done. They were going to do so many things to find out what happened to my son. It was unbelievable. But the report that was sent back was a disgrace. And I told him that. And I says, I want a meeting with you soon as Dundee again, please. So myself, Janice, and my sister, we met with the Lord Advocate's office again, through the Procurator Fiscal Dundee, sitting in the office, and we were like, I'm not accepting this. Who did you interview? He sat there. You ever watch somebody when they're nervous sitting in a chair, but he can't sit the same place? He was beginning to annoy me, because he just kept swaying all over the place. And I'm like, Janice, what's he hiding? He didn't want to tell me nothing. Now, in one of the reports, as I said earlier on, my son was raped. He was raped at the age of 12. I reckon it was once or twice. He was assaulted. He was on child protection in his first year in a Church of Scotland home. He was a mess. He was vegetating. He was going in. He wasn't my son. I didn't know him. He was so badly traumatised in this place. Going up to see him broke your heart. I had a boy, as Janice would tell you if she was here, when we met North Lanarkshire Council in his office, head of social work, Jim Gibb, his name was, North Lanarkshire Council. My son, in a Church of Scotland home, walked about a home with his back against the wall. He walked. I got up and I showed this man what my son done. How he walked about with his back against the wall. He wouldn't get out the car when I took him back. Even though he was in care, we were in that shared care, I never gave up my son. I had access to him through the courts. He should never even have been in care. He stayed with me 4 months out of the year. And the other 8 had to share him with the church. And nobody questioned that, nobody stopped me. I done it. And I wasn't getting him up. Anyway, in North Lanarkshire, standing there showing this head of council what my son done. And when he used to go back to the home, me and Janet, we couldn't get him out of the car. He was hanging on to the rest. And the power that a boy or a man with a learning disability, try to get him out of the car was impossible. This home had to come out and help me get him out. It took 4 or 5 days to get him out of the car. Then he'd walk up to the door, hands against the door. You couldn't get him across the threshold. And then when you managed, he ran away up the corridor, 100 miles an hour. I never seen my boy run. And that was him in his room. That is what happened to him. And then he went in there, toilet trained. He was wet in his cell. He'd feet everywhere. It was impossible. Me and him, great Rangers supporters we are. I used to take him to the games with me all the time. He loved it. Even when he was in the home, I took him to the games. Do you know I couldn't even get him into a toilet? Any toilet. He would not go in. He would rather stand outside and wet himself than get into this toilet. That killed me, that he was doing this. Because in this home was a communal toilet, massive. This is what happened to John. He was seeing this, his focus. He just would not go in this door. We had problems everywhere we went with John. And, when I got him out of the home, it was, we fought hard to keep him going. we got him back, we got help. But it wasn't help through the local authorities, we could do it ourselves. We had to approach people to come and help us, John. He had a great school in Cumbernauld. They had problems with him. They knew things were happening to him, but the local authority, as usual, shut it down. Then we knew there came a time when they weren't helping us anymore. They tried to take my son off me when he stayed with me in Moodiesburn. They were coming after my son to get him away from me because I had police in, I had everybody. Now this is what happens with the state. They start saying, I'm a problem, we've got to stop this problem. Now me and my partner decided we were moving because an MSP, believe it or not, told us to move because she says, you ain't going to get any help. The local authority are coming after you. They're going to use whatever means they can to take your son back off you because you know you are a problem. So we moved up to Blairgowrie. But what we didn't reckon was, when we moved up there, that the problem was going to follow us. And it did. This was the state again. They were contacting Perth and Kinross Council, where we live, and they were telling them, don't help this family. Do not help them. Don't give them any help, care, whatever. They fought the pressure of looking after a boy with severe learning disabilities, who at that time was he could be wild, he could be this, but he was my son. And Janice is his stepmum, but she treated him like her son. And we'd done everything for this boy. But here we had this local authority, Perth and Kinross Council. We're helping North Lanarkshire Council to make the problems worse for us. I had to get an MSP to get help. It took 7 years to get one bit of help. And that was using the state against the state. The MSP, we got it. We got the help. It was a care package. Have you ever heard of care packages where social work would come in and count up how much it was going to cost? We got John a great care package. Must admit, the MSP at the time, he done his bit, he helped us. And we got it, and it looked great future for my son. We got care in, they came and helped us, and we were getting on like a house on fire. My son, never in, out all the time. Me and Janice, our part was get our lives back together again. Got on with our life while John was enjoying his with a care team. Now I spent 7 years with a care team, and that was fine. They come, they go, it's part and parcel of having a care package. They came into our home, we made them feel at home. I had the package, I got people in to do the finance, everything that you deal with a care package, that was all getting done. Above board, legal, no problems. John, having a great life. And 2.5 years ago, 2.5 years ago, about 3 years ago now, is it? The bubble burst. I still pursuing what happened with John with the police. I now have documentation in my possession of a police cover-up. I also have documentation in my possession of everything that happened to my son while he was in this home.
But the police think it's destroyed.
Yeah, Jazz says, well, they think it's all destroyed. I get documentation from that superb officer that I told you turned up again. He wrote a letter to me telling me that it was all destroyed. There was no documentation. He destroyed it. No, he didn't. Because I've got it. Church of Scotland, documentation from the Lord Advocate's office. No one else in the Lord Advocate's office. All documentation, David, destroyed. No, that's no. I've got it. And I've got a file that thick of every day that my son was in that home. The one thing I don't have is the logbook. There is a logbook that goes with children. The log